Laura Richardson here with Relevate. We are Real Estate Elevated, and thank you for joining us on another episode of I'm Moving to North Carolina, Now What? This is our due diligence edition. So like I like to say, due diligence is a little bit of a fickle beast. It's a big part of our contract, but it's honestly one of those things that I think most people, if they've never bought a home before, or if they're moving to North Carolina, this is one of the toughest pieces of our contract to understand. So let's just dive right in. So due diligence, actually, to give you the backstory, came about a little over a decade ago. Due diligence was created because at that time we only had earnest money. Earnest money is something that's pretty typical in most states. That earnest money will actually sit in some type of trust account. It will sit in escrow. It will stay there forever. But in North Carolina, not only do we have earnest money, we also have due diligence. That due diligence deposit is to buy that window at the beginning of your contract. It is a deposit that is due as soon as you go under contract. And the big piece of that is it sits with the seller. So like I said, it was created a few years ago in order to get buyers to have a little bit more skin in the game. Buyers are going under contract, and during that due diligence time period, they were doing their inspections and uncovering some things that maybe they didn't notice when they did their initial showing or put their offer in. So unfortunately, sellers were only able to keep maybe that little bit of money, the earnest deposit. And so we kind of felt like, hey, you know what? We're going to get both parties kind of bought in and tied into the contract. So due diligence became a thing. And now due diligence, the big piece of this is it doesn't have a mathematical formula, but due diligence is a very large amount of money that is going to be given to the seller and held until closing. So folks often like to ask, well, how large are we talking? What's the percentage? What's the typical deposit that I can expect? And unfortunately, the short answer to that is it's going to vary by contract and competition. If you are going to go after a home that has multiple offers on the table, you might have to up your due diligence in order to be competitive. Something that we definitely saw during the last couple of years in our market was due diligence kind of took on a mind of its own. As more buyers started flooding our market and more people started moving here, people got a little bit more aggressive and adventurous, if you will, on the amount of due diligence. We were seeing things as low as $5,000 become upwards of $200,000 with folks putting a very large portion of their down payment into their due diligence. Remember, due diligence does come back to you at the closing table, so folks were taking that pretty seriously in order to really throw their name in the hat, in the ring, and be competitive in this aggressive market that we just came out of. So if you have any questions about due diligence, feel free to reach out to the details and the contact info below. We would love to discuss with you how this process looks and how to ensure that it's the best process for you. Thank you so much.